I think what we're going to do next, put it back up in the air and see if we can't jerk the deck off. Seems to me like this should be taller. There. Boom, you're taller. Needs more light. That probably doesn't help a bunch, but I guess I'm going to have to come up with some underlighting for the hoist here. This, by the way, I don't know why this isn't standard equipment. 10 cents worth of rope to flip the deck chute up and down with. Got the spring in the wrong place. So anyway, these MTDs, everybody hates them, but boy, they're so easy to work on. Parts availability for them is fantastic, and they're usually pretty inexpensive. So to take the deck off, we just drop the deck down. Almost every MTD made since 1998 has these little pole latch doodads. And then that's loose. It will be the same exact thing on the other side. There we go. Then you can put your deck handle back up, and that raises that those brackets up out of your way. And then there's a pin here on the front. Pull out right there. Right there. And that. And then you just got to get the belt off the PTO pulley up there. And most of the time you can do that with a gentle tug. If not, on this one, that bracket just goes in this hole up here. You can push it in and turn it a little and get the belt out of the guide. Alright. Now the only other thing holding this on, we're just about out of battery. Over here on this side, you have your PTO, your manual PTO cable. It also has a pin in it, similar to the one on the front, just a little smaller. Just kind of pull up on one side of it and pull it up out of there, and then this thing just pulls back towards you, and then the other end, get it out here where you can see it. The other end has a big heavy spring on it. Right here. With a hook. Just hooks into that bracket. Pretty much have to have it straight up and down to get it unhooked. Alright. The deck is free of the machine. jack isn't that heavy. In my tight little space here, it's heavy enough. Always has been. Sure, they use made in China parts, but you know, they had to compete. The average guy that was willing to pay $1,500 for a riding mower, he wasn't looking for garden tractor quality. He wasn't looking for Cub Cadet John Deere, Gravely, insert any popular big name expensive mower brand. You know, he just wanted to get his yard mowed so he could go drink beer. Keep the town council from sending the city guys over to mow it for him. Hey, I've kind of been thinking this mower is probably fairly low hours. But this guy did say he always kept it in his garage and always took good care of it. I don't know. You know, everybody's got their own. Everybody's got their own definition of taking good care of something. This really does look like it's still in really good shape. Brake on that side doesn't work. You know, when people speak of deck brakes, that's this, and this. And they're intended to stop these pulleys from spinning. Like federal government says 2 seconds or something. You release the PTO, that should stop spinning almost instantly. Of course, very few of them ever work that way, but you know, that's to keep the guy from shutting the deck off, and this thing's still spinning, and he sticks his hand up under there to check for a bent blade or a clog or something. And then, oh my, I've lost some fingers. Those bearings are not bad, but they are pretty dry. Belt doesn't look bad, but that one sounds funny. Yeah, see that brake? Basically, it doesn't work at all. It just needs. We just need to clean that up and get it moving nice and free again. This goofy little spring here is supposed to push that brake on. Well, I think we're gonna take a look, see what those bearings look like. Easiest way to get your nut off your bottom side to change or sharpen your blades is with an impact. You can do it without an impact, but boy, it can be a real pain in the butt. Now, you know, these spindle bearings, they're sealed bearings on pretty much every mower made in the last 20 to 25 years. That's what you get in there. And even on a lot of the decks that have a grease zerk, they have these sealed bearings on them, so you're not really greasing anything but the shaft, and the shaft doesn't need to be greased. But, you know, if you take your mower in and the guy says, oh, you need new spindles because the bearings are bad. No, you just need new bearings. See, there's you know, unless that shaft is bent, which this one is not. You know, these splines for this top pulley are fine. The blade itself, it's pretty dull, but it's really not even that dull, honestly. A little bit of work with a grinder and that blade will be good to go for a while. Until somebody hits something with it and wrecks it. Okay, battery died. Now we're back. So really, I mean, unless that shaft is bent or the part at the top that holds this pulley or the part at the bottom that holds the blade, or, you know, if the housing itself is broken or cracked or whatever, which happens. You know, these break, the decks rot out, but even then. But anyway, my point is, seeing that bearing isn't really, he's nice and dry. That's pretty gummy in there, so probably I'm going to go ahead and replace those bearings. You can get these bearings off of Amazon, and you can pay as much as you want or basically as little as you want. I mean, I think I usually look, you know, and try to find in around the $5 range per bearing, because you can get them, you can get 10 of these bearings for like $12. But I usually try to get, you know, a 10 pack in the $40 to $50 range. Hopefully that's a better bearing. I don't know. Makes me feel a little bit better about it. Usually just a few taps, and that lower bearing and this inner spacer will come out. Oh yeah, this lower bearing, it still spins nice, but this would be really noisy on your mower. When you engage the deck, it would give you a good whine. And if you want, you can just refill that, put some more grease in it, keep running it, since it really isn't bad. And I do that sometimes in a pinch. If I am out of bearings or something like that, and I don't want to wait a day or two to get them. You know, you can source these bearings. They sell a bearing, forget what these are, RS 2204 2RS bearings is what that is. And you know, you can't tell the difference between, they're all made in China. You just about can't get a bearing that isn't made in China. See, that's the top one. And it would be, those two bearings at full speed would just scream like crazy. Well, maybe not like crazy, but they would scream. You'd hear them. It would drive me nuts. Obviously doesn't bother a lot of people. That's what you get inside a brand new bearing, is just a little bit of blue grease. And usually what I do, pop the seal off. And that one actually didn't look too bad, grease wise. And then put the lower one, put it right on the shaft. And don't forget to put your spacer back on top of the lower bearing. Yeah, so usually they look a lot more like this, where there's a little bit of grease in there, but not nearly as much as what was in the other one. So I usually take my grease gun and just, with a needle point, and I just fill up one side of the bearing with a little more number 2 grease. And I don't think you want to fill up both sides. You can, I guess, if you want, but you know, they got to have room. The grease has got to have room to expand in there, so it can't be completely full. And let's see, I'm going to go ahead and sharpen that blade, which will probably be pretty loud, so I'll be right back after I sharpen this blade. Alright, blade sharpened. Spacer on there, bearing on there. Now what I did there, I just pulled that bottom bearing into the housing using that nut. Which they don't fit real tight in the housing. Now that's been nice and quiet. That's not going to drive the neighbor's dogs wild. Now this thing, need to get that spring tension a little better. Kind of a weird looking bolt. Yeah, I should probably explain. I'm not so much doing these videos for how to or you know, show you how it's done. I'm doing these videos to show you how I do it. So if you don't want to do it this way, that's fine. See, that spring has a half a Z bend on it. I don't know why that's so loosey-goosey on there. I just went ahead and bent it out more. See if that's enough to get the old brake to go on. Seeing how this works, it's got a shouldered spacer and a regular bolt. They used to use a shouldered bolt and a regular spacer. I guess this is cheaper. The idea is the spring goes around the wider part. I don't know. I don't think, yeah, and then the bottom skinnier part is the spacer to keep it from binding up when you tighten the bolt up. But anyway, back to my little story. I'm not making these videos to show you how to do things, really. Maybe I'm showing you how not to do things. I don't know. Something I do know is that in the don't forget your socket. You know, in the cheap riding lawnmower business, You know, the people that buy these things new are looking for something inexpensive to solve the problem of how can I mow the grass quickly and then go drink beer. Check and see if this brake works. It's better than it was. None of them ever work very well. Those brake shoes wear out really fast anyway. Okay, this other spindle, I don't know that we really need to put new bearings in this one. Also don't know why. Oh, that's why. Need to move the whole thing over a little. Now it should be able to. Not quite. There we go. It's hitting the pinch, or the lift, or whatever you want to call it. So where was I? People that buy these inexpensive mowers in the first place, you know, they do it for a reason. Whether it's actually to go drink beer or not, I don't know. But and anyway, the people that buy them used also have pretty much that same goal in mind. They have the same reasons anyway. They don't want to push mow their third of an acre. And this blade is about the same. I'd say these blades are not very old. They're not bent. The shaft is not bent. These are not the original blades. That much I can tell you. The original blades on these things are pretty thin, easily bent. I don't know that we need to replace these bearings. Yeah. A lot of dirt in there. Even though these aren't really noisy. They're not long for the world, I don't think, so we'll go ahead and spend the $10 on this spindle too. That's not even close to it. Fun game. Pick up the punch. There we go. This bearing's a little noisy. Yep, completely dry. This is not full of dirt like that top bearing. Usually those top ones come up pretty easy. That one's all full of crud. Oh yeah, look at the back side of it. Almost looks like it's burnt, like it's been hot. Burnt on there. Good thing we changed them. I decided to change them. Let's go. You know, if you're in a bind and you really need one of these bearings bad, you can get them locally. Most lawnmower shops will sell you one, you know, for $20 to $30. At Farm and Fleet, and probably most farm stores, I don't know, but definitely at Farm and Fleet, you can find these 6204, yeah, 6204 2RS bearings. You can find them in their water pump section. And I want to say out of that section, they're like $8 or $10 a piece, maybe 12. Probably now, you know, with Bidenomics, they're probably $20 a piece. But they used to be like $8 years ago. Yeah, see this one, it's kind of got some grease in there, but it's very spotty. And, you know, a lot of people, oh, what kind of grease do you use? I use new grease. I have never had new grease fail me. In all honesty. I really like to use marine grease, because, you know, if it's good enough for the Marines. The marine grease is kind of spendy, but I will usually buy marine grease if it's on sale. The grease I'm using today is just a number 2 wheel bearing or axle grease or something to that effect. You know, it isn't this. This is different than what's in that grease gun, but that's who made it, was Mystic, and it's a number 2. I think that grease is an axle grease. But they had this general purpose grease for some reason on clearance right after Christmas, so I bought like all of it. Because it was on clearance for like 48 cents a tube. All right, I'm going to sharpen this other blade. Okay, got her sharpened up. You should always check the bottom of your spindles too, because this is string or some kind of weed or something, you know, that was wrapped around the... And if you get enough crap wrapped up in this area, between this bearing and the blade holder, it'll ruin this bearing. I've had people bring me stuff and say, hey, my mower deck started making all this noise and it's not that old. You know, and they've swallowed a bunch of kite string or something, and it'll wrap itself up around in there and get it, you know, to where it'll chew the seal off the bearing, and that does have metal in it, that seal, and it'll get up in the bearing and it'll just tear the bearing up. And you know, if you're lucky, that's all it'll do is wreck the bearing. But so, you know, if you got string or dog chains, dog tie outs. You don't want to run those over. You want to avoid hitting anything really with your cheap, expensive lawnmower. See, there's kind of little splines in those pulleys in the center of them. And they're not very meaty, but you definitely want to get them lined up because they strip out pretty easy. All right. So that should be that. Board out of there. All right. Off. Nice. Good as new. And a lot cheaper than new. I don't know, this belt. This belt really doesn't look bad. It's not very new. But I would say it's probably not the original. No way that it's a 10-year-old belt. But I'll look that belt up and see if I can find one pretty cheap. You know, everybody says use your OEM manufacturer, but I have really good luck with the blue belts from Tractor Supply. And Farm and Fleet sells oh, they sell a Daco. That's what they sell. Daco belts. I've had good luck with Daco belts too. I like the ones from Tractor Supply better because they're blue. You know, they're not precisely the same length as what you would get from MTD. Because, you know, every OEM makes their belt 87 and 5/8 or whatever the metric equivalent of that is. They can't just make a belt 88 inches long. But the truth of the matter is, a deck belt or even a drive belt, they don't need to be 87 and 5/8. They can be 88 inches long. And they'll work just fine. Well, I guess what I was going to do, You guys can't even see me. You suck as a cameraman, Scott. This bracket holding on the chute was loose. To fix that, I took the nut completely off. What I really want to fix is this spring. This little guy here should be between the bracket, should be underneath there. And shouldn't be that hard to achieve that goal. Have enough room here between the So anyway, what we're trying to do is pull this hinge out. So we can get this spring fall completely out. No, so we can get this spring wound back up. And, you know, this isn't something you need to do. This is something that I need to do. Call it whatever you want. I'm really not a safety Sally type at all. But little things like this spring not being wound around the right way just annoys the crap out of me. But it's also, you know, for safety. There. Now it pops back down where it should be. Is it worth it? Probably. As long as we're here, let's take a look at the drive belt.